Hey, everybody, it's John Moore here with the DLLS Rangers minor league recap for Monday, May the 5th, 2025. And this is a special edition. We'll recap at the end real quick, just kind of where every minor league affiliate is sitting at. But we're going to get into the news of the day. And the news of the day is what happened with the big league club. I know that Jeff and John just finished a live show and they went on and have theirs, but I wanted to give my opinion of what's happened, who we might see, and how this could affect some minor league roster moves that could possibly, every time there's a promotion, sometimes that promotion goes all the way down and starts moving people up to the next level there. Sorry about that, guys. My allergies are really bad today. Anyway, if we're going to get into what happened yesterday, let's get into the first big news that dropped, and that was the firing of Donnie Ecker. Now, I have long said this is not Donnie Ecker's fault. Partially, the blame's going to go to the guy that runs the offense. But, ultimately, these guys all have their own hitting coaches. They all have their own people that help them do what they do. Your hitting coach, per se, doesn't teach you how to hit. When you get to the big leagues, when you get to where you're going, you have your own approach and what you do to get there, and then you start seeking help in other directions. There's guys like Donnie Ecker who study the opposing pitchers, try to put together a game plan, he's more of an offensive coordinator than a hitting coach. But in this situation, with the team struggling the way they were, this was the guy that ultimately had to pay the biggest price for it. There's a lot of it's crazy that I don't know what they're going to do next. Jeff and John just went over a lot. Jeff seems to think there might be some outside deal. That it's not 2:30 yet Eastern time, but or Eastern time, 2:30 Central time. But at 2:30, the beat writers, including Jeff Wilson, part of DLLS, are going to be on a conference call where I'm sure Chris Young is going to address it all. We may know who is going to get the big league call up because there's a couple of candidates there. But there was another person that got let go of all of this. And it was kind of the surprising one that came afterwards for a lot of us. And, that one was Leody Taveras. I don't think any of us saw that. Everybody was calling for it. Don't get me wrong. Everyone was calling for Leody Taveras to be DFA'd or do whatever. Well, your wish came true. I never envisioned that this would happen, and let me tell you why I didn't envision it. Coming into the 2025 season, Leody Taveras was not supposed to get as many at-bats as he's gotten. He was not supposed to play and be your everyday center fielder. He just wasn't. He was meant to come in, maybe during spring training, earn a position where he might get traded off for something, used in a trade. Otherwise, I think the Rangers had him penciled in as best case scenario. He was going to be their fourth outfielder. He was going to be that guy that would fill in late, do whatever. He was not meant. Your initial 2025 roster opening day was really supposed to go with something like Wyatt Langford in left field, Evan Carter in center field, Adolis Garcias in right field. That's the way they saw it. They signed Pilar. Pilar was just going to be maybe they kind of looked at him at possibly if Evans still continued to not hit left-handers good, then maybe they would platoon in center field, and Pilar would be good for that. He was a veteran who had a lot of experience, a lot of playoff experience, and that was a guy maybe that they could use and do that. And it was still going to be Evan Carter and Pilar that were going to be your platoon. That left Leody Taveras down on the bench as a fill-in. That's kind of the best-case scenario for Leody. They did not envision him playing every day. Well, Carter had a horrible spring. He just looked lost. He was dealing with the back issue. They've worked on that, and that's where they felt it was. And so Leody ends up opening day. That's where they go opening day, or in as of now, facing right-handed batters. That was your left-handed center field bat. Now the emergence of Josh Smith changed that, and I think what they have done is looked down at the minor league level and thought, we have a couple of people that could at least platoon as the left-handed hitter that would be better than Leody, and that's where they were, because I don't think, in my opinion, what I thought would happen is once Evan Carter was ready, and he may be on his way to Boston right now. The team flew in yesterday right afterwards, right after the game. If you don't know about travel and how the major league teams do it, they have a day off today, but they immediately go to their destination, no matter where it's at, even if there's a day off. Say they're maybe they're in San Francisco and they're going to be playing in Seattle the next series, but there's going to be a day off in between. They play San Francisco at night. They finish real late. They're going to get on a flight that night. They're going to fly on up to Seattle and enjoy the entire day off, and they're not going to travel on their off day. That's how they always do it. So they flew out to Boston yesterday, and their day off is today in Boston. And so that's why somebody flew to Boston. Now, neither one of the two candidates that a lot of us thought were going to be there played yesterday. One of them, who most people thought it was going to be, was Evan Carter. Evan Carter has really been on somewhat of a hot streak. Now, last Friday, when we were all excited, Blaine Krim was getting called up to the big leagues. Jeff and I did did our weekly show, immediately headed out once we got everything together, I produced the show, got it together, got it out. Jeff had already taken off. I headed out there after him. We were all going to be there when the clubhouse opened to greet Blaine, and you saw the video and all of that, and welcome him to the big leagues. We were so excited for him. And when we got there, the way it normally works is we get there, we go put all our stuff up in the press box, and then we immediately go out, and we're standing outside the clubhouse. You got to get scanned in. Your credentials got to get scanned in. And it's usually 5 to 10 minutes before they open the clubhouse, and we're going to get ready. And once they open the doors, and we all go in, and we get to go into the clubhouse. Well, we're sitting around waiting, and all of a sudden, Rich Rice, who's the new John Blake, stepped out and said, Chris Young's going to be down in the media room, which is back down the walkway. You go back in there, and that's where you see all the press conferences with Bochy afterwards, and usually the starting pitcher. So we all go in, we get set down for that, knowing Chris Young. And Jeff said, I guess there's another move being made. Let's figure, I don't know when, maybe he's going to address everything. We're going to talk there. Well, he didn't go sit up at the podium. He moved over to a little seat over behind another backdrop, and we just kind of stood around him. And that's where the announcement was made that they had DFA'd Nick Ahmed. And then they had called up Jonathan Ornelas, which was basically an overnight call-up is all it was. Corey Seager was not eligible to come back on till Friday. And so when that happened, they were going to, Corey Seager was going to come back. Jonathan Ornelas was essentially the backup shortstop for the night. But they needed the roster spot to bring up Krim. They needed it to DFA someone to do that. And Nick Ahmed was the one that got the DFA. That opened the 40-man roster spot for Blaine Krim. He addressed that. Nothing else was really said about what was going on there in doing that move. So then we go in, we see Blaine, but Evan, that's the reason I even wanted to bring that up was what he said about Evan Carter. Ultimately, I don't ask questions in these. Your beat writers ask all the questions you guys want to get asked. They're always asking them. And one of the questions came up to, what do you want to see from Evan Carter? He had gone on a hot streak. He was doing well. He was still not hitting left-handers well, but he was hitting the right-handers. He was looking like the old Evan going through that. And Chris Young shut it down pretty quick. And kind of the way he made it sound, and what I got from it was when Evan gets here, we don't see him as coming back in and just taking over the center field position. We kind of see him coming back and platooning. And if you're going to do that, that means one of your jobs as a platoon is that there might be, let's say that a left-hander's on the mound and Kevin Pillar's the starter. Later in the game, they're going to switch out. They're going to go to the bullpen, and if a right-handed arm comes in, we need you to step up to the plate and be a pinch hitter in that position. Well, a guy like Evan Carter, who hasn't really done a lot of pinch hitting, we want to get him some at-bats like that. We want to get – that's kind of the way he was saying it. We need to get him used to that and the fact that he might be coming off the bench to pinch hit. He hasn't done that a lot. And that's kind of the way that he put that out there. Well, that immediately thought, well, he's not ready yet. We don't know that we're ready to do that yet with him, but they were going to start that. Well, what does he do? He comes in and pinch hits a couple days ago and hits a home run. So maybe that is why Evan Carter is coming back to the big leagues. Maybe that's the guy that flew. He did not play in Sunday's game. He did not play in Sunday's game. Now, the other weird scenario that came out of this, it's who Jeff, if you just watch the live show, it's who Jeff kind of thinks it might be, is down in Double-A. the guy that almost made this roster out of spring training, and that's Alejandro Osuna. Osuna had started off just a little bit slow at Frisco, but he was the player of spring training. He was the guy, as they go through spring training, as they get towards the middle, towards the end, they start needing the big leaguers to get more at bats, right? So they have a lot of guys in the big league clubhouse. At about halfway point, when you start needing to get more at bats for the big leaguers, you start kicking out the minor leaguers and sending them back to minor league camp to go down there. And then, but the two that were noticeably did not get sent down were Harris and Osuna. They stayed up, and that was a little surprising. Well, they stayed right until the end. Osuna and Harris stayed down there before they were finally told they weren't going to make the team. Alejandro Osuna almost made the team. I'm telling you, you guys don't think that's real, but it was real that he almost made this team. And Dustin Harris was another one that almost made. Dustin Harris had a good spring. He was another one that almost made this team. So there is a chance. And if you've looked at what Alejandro Osuna is doing at AA right now, he's going off. He got just a little bit late start getting going. He really didn't start off like you wanted to see, but then he immediately became the guy they saw at AA. He's playing some good outfield, but he's hitting the ball and he's slugging well. He's got over 1,000 OPS right now. In AA, he's hitting over 300, hitting 340 or something to that effect. He's got a few bombs. I mean, this is a guy that they really, really like. They see something here. This may be a guy that also, he didn't play Sunday. Cam Colley was playing center field Sunday. That's not something he does a lot, leading you to wonder, was this a last-minute situation where we need to move somebody up and get somebody to AA? But, Cam Colley's a middle infielder. He's athletic. Maybe we'll stick him in the outfield and let him play center field because all of a sudden Alejandro Osuna wasn't going to be available. Maybe Carlos Cordoza got a call saying, leave Osuna out of the lineup. He may be getting on an airplane. Hopefully at this meeting that's about to go on or whatever's about to go on right now, we're about to find out what in the world happened, who's going up and who's not. Another name that's being mentioned is somebody that could possibly be coming back to the big leagues, who I don't think it'll be, but we might as well talk about him, is Ezekiel Duran, who just got demoted, but boy, he has totally gone off since he got demoted. He went down there and did what you're supposed to do. Jeff made a point of that. There's a couple ways to handle being demoted. He handled it perfectly. Went down there and just started raking, getting those everyday at bats. I don't think it's going to be him. I really think, in my gut of guts, the whole Cam Colley thing threw me off. And with the Cam Colley thing throwing me off, that's what makes me wonder if it's not Alejandro Osuna that's going to get that 40-man spot. And that has been cleared up with the release or the outright waivers of Leody Taveras. Guys, this is some big news. A lot of you wanted to see something like this. It happened. It happened. Chris Young made a move. He decided he wasn't going to wait around and do that. He decided he was going to go do something right now. Look, he has said this over and over. This isn't a team he thinks can compete for the American League West and to go to the World Series. This is a team he expects to compete and go to the World Series and win the West. All right, you know what? Let's go down. We'll just recap the minor leagues real quick before we get out of here. It won't be very long. We're just going to hit them up where they're sitting right now and who they're playing. We're going to start out at AAA Round Rock. All right, the Round Rock Express. The Round Rock Express are 17 and 16 right now. They are in second place in the Pacific Coast League South. They are 4 and 6 in their last 10 games. They have won 2, and tomorrow night they will be in El Paso at 7:05. Let's go down to Frisco. The Frisco Rough Riders are 17 and 10 right now. They're in first place in the Texas League. They are 5 and 5 in their last 10. They have won their last 3 games, and tomorrow they will be at San Antonio tomorrow night, opening a series in San Antonio. Now let's go to Hub City. The Hub City Spartanburgers are 15-12 right now. They're in first place in the in the South Atlantic League. They are 5-5 in their last 10. They've lost 2, and they will host Greensboro. They've been on the road for 2 weeks. They will host Greensboro, who comes in tomorrow night, and that's who'll be in town in Hub City all week. Let's go down to Hickory. The Hickory Crawdads are 12-15. They're in 4th place right now in the Carolina League. They're 4-6 in their last 10. They lost their last game, and they are going to Augusta, going down there where the Masters was, to start their series tomorrow night in Augusta, and they'll be there all week. That's the end of the Minor League Report Special Edition. Until next time, guys, we'll see you at the yard.